Happy Sunday, love and reciprocity. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to those who are new. If you don't already know, I am authentically me, Trinice L. Jackson, the L is for Latoya. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the post notification bell so that you all will be notified when I upload new content. If you like what you hear, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, keep your like to yourself for yourself and save it for another day. Why? Because you ought to be remaining true to yourselves, because I'm going to always remain true to me. Doesn't matter who I am in your life. Your mama, I always say this, your mama, your daughter, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, whomever, your coworker, your neighbor. If the content does not resonate, if you are not feeling what I'm saying, do not give me a thumbs up. I'm not saying that some of you all will, but some people feel obligated. Don't feel obligated. Always feel obligated to remaining true to yourselves, remaining true to God first and foremost. I'm going to always be who I am. I'm going to always stick to my calling. I'm going to always walk in my purpose, walk the path that God has laid before me. It's my journey. It's my journey alone. And it's all about how you choose to walk your journey, how you choose to live out your purpose. It's always going to be up to you. God does not make us do anything we don't want to do. I always say that. This is your life. This is your life. And the way you choose to live your life is how you choose to live your life. You have to live with your end results, not me, not the next person, not that person. You do. So make sure you are living your best life for who? For God and yourself. In yourself, because as I often tell you, that God doesn't make us live for him, right? He gives us a choice, free will. He wants us to live for him. He does. And most parents want their kids to live the best life that they can live, right? And that's what God wants for us. This is why I'm going to always stick to my purpose, always stick to my path. This is my calling. This is what I love to do. It just comes to me so naturally. Because why? It's my calling. It's who God called me to be the light in your time of darkness. I'm going to always be about the people. I'm going to always show love to people. I'm going to always love people. It's never going to be a hard act for me. It's never an act, but it will never be hard for me to love people because it's who I am. I told you all that God has given me the gift of love, and I so walk this gift every single day because it's what? It's who I am. It's who God called me to be. I also often talk about the given nature. The second part of my gift is they're all here. They're all here. I don't say this one is better than the other, but I do love to give. I do love to see other people happy and whole and healed. And when I talk about giving, I'm not just talking about on a monetary basis. I'm talking about giving, sharing my gifts with you all. That's giving. Some of us, we're selfish. We don't like to share our gifts with others. We just want to keep them to ourselves and just share them with some people. I mean, everybody is not called to give in the same way. We can't all give in the same way. Absolutely not. You had wealthy people who can give money and give to charities and things of that nature. I'm not wealthy. I'm not rich. So I'm not able to pour out into people monetarily all the time. I'm a giver. I've given till I had nothing else to give. So, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. And you got to make sure that whoever is in your path, it's who God put in your path. And not somebody you snatched up and say, you know what, I want to pour into this person. It's okay to pour into others, but make sure that you're pouring into the right person, because when you don't pour into the right person, what happens? Your cup becomes depleted. But this is how you know you're pouring into the right people, because God will continuously pour into you, because that's who he sent in your path, right? So I'm always going to be a light for those who need the light. Even in my time of darkness, I talked about this. Even in my time of darkness, I still have light, y'all. Because why? I know who my source of strength is. I know where my light comes from. You have to know where your light is coming from, right? Your light from God. God is light. He's love and he's light. And that's how I'm able to go forward, even when I'm feeling some times of darkness. We're going to have some times of darkness because we're human. And that's part of life. I always tell you about the coin. There's two sides to the coin. You have happy days, you have sad days. But just know that on the other side of your sadness, you could find joy. On the other side of war, there is peace. On the other side of brokenness, there is wholeness. But you got to know who to go to for your healing. You got to know who gives you your healing on today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about healing, and it's going to come from your faith. And one of the person that I'm going to talk about, she exhibited so much strength in her weakness. I talked about that on a post the other day, a couple weeks ago, when I talked about faith. And I had read a part of that in a book, and the person said that there is strength in weakness, and that touched me so much. And I was like, that's very true. And I thought about the woman with the issue of blood. If you don't know anything about the woman with the issue of blood, I'm gonna talk about her a little bit. And I can only talk about her a little bit because she's not spoken about a whole lot throughout the Bible. She's only talked about a couple times in the Bible, but she was one that she was the one who had shown mega faith, mega strength in her time of weakness. So when they talk about the woman with the issue of blood, they talk about it, they're talking about hemorrhaging. They talk about it in the Bible as hemorrhaging. In other words, we all adults here. We're all adults here. It's a part of life. It's what women go through on a monthly basis, and the woman's flow, and she was inflicted, and she had infirmities, and she was bleeding for 12 whole years, not 12 days. 12 days is bad enough. And not to get too personal, but when I was a teenager, it was 3 or 4 days for me, and I thought that was long. And then I found out that a friend 7 days, and some people 8 days, and some people 9 days. And that's not really normal. I'm not getting into that, but could you imagine a woman, and men, you can take from this. This is not just a message for women, because I'm talking about faith. I'm talking about faith, and I'll get you where. I'm going to get to where I want you to be when I talk about faith. I know that the Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence not seen. But we have to understand that there are dual meanings to some scriptures, right? So this woman who had this weakness, because you imagine losing blood. Even when somebody loses blood, somebody, God forbid, get stabbed or get cut, they losing blood, they become weak, and they become more and more weak. And could you imagine this woman being weak? And back in those times when a woman, they was known as being unclean. You couldn't touch nobody, you couldn't be around nobody. For 12 whole years, she had to look at the world from behind a door. She couldn't really interact with anybody. So I could imagine her loneliness. She had spent all her money on doctors. The doctors couldn't find a cure because we know who the healer is. So just know that even when the doctor want to give up on you and say, well, you only have so many years to live, or you only have so many months to live, you got to look to the hills from whence cometh your help. You know that God is a helper. He's a healer. He's a way maker. Even when we don't see a way, even when the doctors don't see a way, God will make a way for you. So this woman who heard that Jesus was in town, she said, oh, I got to get to him because I heard he was a miracle worker. I heard that he healed. I heard that he can raise the dead and make them alive again. I heard that he can give sight to the blind. I heard that he can make you whole again when you've been broken. He can bring you joy when you've been in pain. He can bring you peace when all your life, all you did was fight wars. She said, if I can get to him, I can get some healing. This was her way of exhibiting her faith. Now, she was weak, but she had enough strength and enough because of her faith. Her faith gave her strength. So I imagine she went through the crowd. Now, Jesus was there. So he was there to heal people and to help people. So it was a lot of people. The way the Bible says, it was hundreds and hundreds of people. And this woman said, I got to get to him. If I can get to him. So it was hundreds and hundreds of people. So she had to squeeze her way through the crowd. And the Bible says that when she got to him, she touched the hem of his garment. She didn't even touch him. She said, if I can just touch his clothing, I can be healed. That is faith. And when she touched the hem of his garment, he felt the virtue. He felt the power, the energy leave his body, because he turned around. He asked his disciples, who touched me? Could you imagine being in a crowd of people and turning around and asking your friends, who touched me? And Peter, they said, Peter was like, I can imagine, well, how the heck we supposed to know? He didn't really say how the heck we supposed to know. But I can imagine if I was saying, well, how are we supposed to know all these people? So Peter told him, said, well, Master, there's a lot of people here. It's just people pressing up against you. And Jesus said, no, I felt the power leave my body. This is why it's important to have the right people around you, because energy is everything. It's either going to be positive energy or negative energy. So those who touch you with negative energy, they have the ability to zap you of your strength. They have the ability to take your power away. They have the ability to take your faith away. This is why you have to surround yourself with positivity. This is why I talked about it on my post on Instagram and Faith. I talked about energy, protecting your energy, because energy is real. We're energetic beings. We have the ability to create positive or negative energy. So when this woman touched the hem of Jesus's garment, it wasn't the power in the garment. The garment wasn't the miracle worker. The garment didn't exhibit magic powers. It was her. Jesus said it was your faith, because she came forward, because he kept saying, who touched me? I know some. Now, mind you, she didn't touch his skin. She didn't touch his body. She touched the clothing, the hem at that. The hem, it's just there. So how do you feel somebody touch the hem of your garment? He felt the virtue. It says he felt the virtue. In other words, the power leave his body. So the woman said, it was me. And he said, your faith has made you whole. In other words, your faith has healed you. Go and be at peace. We have to have faith and know, as I said earlier, who our healer is. Know that there is healing because of faith. God will heal you on the strength of faith because you believe in him. He said, without faith, it's impossible to please God. So you got to have a measure of faith. Listen, he said that even the faith of a mustard seed. Now, I know a lot of times we've heard growing up in church that it's the smallest seed. Is one of the smallest seed, the mustard seeds. So the mustard seed. So in other words, even if you have faith this small, you can move mountains. Now, don't get me wrong. He ain't saying you're going to go and tell Mount Everest to get up and move and go over and take place with this mountain. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about in the spiritual realm. This is how faith works. When you have faith and trust and belief in God. Because sometimes, some of us speak about faith and, I have faith in God, but you don't truly believe. I have faith that God is going to do this for me, but I don't believe. I don't really believe. And one of the reasons we exhibit that disbelief by not doing things. Now, this woman, even in her sick time, she got up and she made her way through the crowd. Faith without works is dead, y'all. This is what I often tell y'all. Faith without works is dead. You have to put in the work. She put in the work. And you might say, well, she just went and got through the crowd, but she had been losing blood for 12 years straight. Every single day. So I know she was weak. And it took a lot of strength in her weakness to make it to the healer. She touched the hem of his garment. And I told you, the virtue left his body. He felt the virtue leave his body. This is why I said it again. I say it again. I said it before. This is why it's important to surround yourself. Now, sometimes people going to come into your life a wolf in sheep clothing. So you may not know, but the Bible tells you by their fruit. In other words, their character, their traits, their work, you will know who they are. This is why it's important to know God's voice, because God will show you. He will tell you who people are in your life. He will tell you. Now, it's up to you whether you believe it or not. If you don't know, this is why you have to know his voice. I told y'all, and I'm done with my message. I was trying to do it in 15 minutes, even though I had said before that I will stop rushing my messages, because essentially what I'm doing is I am cutting God off. I'm cutting the message short, but I give you guys, well, not YouTube, but I give people things every single day. No matter what, like I told you all before, even if it's one person that can take from it, it doesn't matter. I'm going to continuously post. One like, no likes, I'm going to post. One comment, no comment, I'm going to still post. Why? Because it's my calling. It's what I've been called to do. And, it's like God, he does not tempt us. He tests us sometimes. He won't tempt us. He ain't the devil. He won't tempt us, but he will test us. Let me see. I'm not going to allow nobody to get this girl any likes. I'm going to see if she's going to get discouraged and stop in the middle of her journey. Not me. Not me, because this is what I love to do. I love to give. I love to help others in any way that I possibly can. If it's within my power, within my strength, I'm going to do it. No matter what, because God gives me everything I need to give to you all forever and always. I know he will, because I am walking my journey. I can't walk nobody else's journey, nobody else's path. Why? Because I'll keep tripping and falling and setting myself back further. So always make sure that you are walking your path, walking in your own shoes. I talked about that. I ain't getting into the shoes that other people gifted you. Make sure that you are walking in your own shoes, on your own path. Your own journey is for you, right? And you can help people along the way. This is why I don't mind telling my stories. I know when I first started out and I was telling y'all, people felt like I was telling my business and I was telling too much. And so it's all right. This is who I was called. This is what I was called to do. Remember, I told you when I went through the time of darkness and I felt like giving up and I felt like going to sleep and not waking up. I didn't want to kill myself. I didn't want to take my own life. I said, I want to give life a chance. But people felt like, oh, she's telling too much. I wouldn't tell nobody that. I don't care. Well, because our calling is different. Our journey and paths are different. I've been called with a purpose, for a specific set of people. A specific set of people. This is why I'll never let anybody impede. I will let nobody interfere in what God has called me to do. Because guess what? At the end, as I often say, at the end of this journey, who am I going to answer to? God, nobody else. God tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I have to answer to him. And this is my calling. I wouldn't even feel right if I did not answer the call to God. I would not be able to do the things that I do if I did not answer my calling. Right? So make sure that we are exhibiting mega faith. Oh, what I was saying was about knowing his voice. God, you got to be careful of the people that come into your life. And sometimes you think that it's God and it's not always God, but you'll know by the fruit. You'll know by their fruit. You'll know about sometimes it takes a while. You'll know by the things that they show you, because a leopard can't change its spots. What's in darkness will come to light. And this is why I say it's important that you know his voice. I told this story before, and I'm going to tell it very briefly. I try to be done in like 2 minutes. When I first started my walk with God, and I started hearing from him. And I was amazed, and I was like, I don't believe this. This God ain't really talking to, because I never really heard about God talking to people until I started going to church as an adult. And I said, well, maybe, I want to hear from him so bad. Maybe it's really not God. And I started asking God. I said, God, well, if it's you, let this happen. God, if it's you, let this happen. If it's you, God, let this happen. And God will allow these things to happen. And then when I got to the fourth one, I said, well, God, if it's you, because I was amazed. I said, no way, this is God speaking to me. And I'm hearing him like this so clearly. It's no way, no way, no way. And I said the fourth time, I said, God, well, if there's really you talking to me, let this. And before I can say what I wanted him to show me, he said, if you talk to me more, you would know my voice. And I said, okay. And then I would always ask God, well, God, I need confirmation. Because saying, God, give me confirmation. Well, that was the thing, the confirmation. I need confirmation. God said, I am your confirmation. And it's so funny because when I was telling the story before, when I was 7 years old, now I'm just talking. When I was 7 years old, I didn't know. This is how I tell you that you are born with your gifts. You may develop them over time, but your gifts were gifted to you at birth. God don't decide at 7 or 8 years old, I'm going to give, oh, you know what? She look like she's going to be pretty good in that. So let me just give her this gift. That's not how it works. It's all in the master plan. It's already written. It's already written. When I was 7 years old, I told this story when I was 7. got into a fight with a girl. She was a little couple years older than me, maybe 9. She was bigger than me. She was big bone. I was small. I was small at 7. And she didn't speak English. Her family didn't speak speak English. They were Spanish speaking. And I don't know why we got into a fight. We got into a fight, and the girl really didn't want to fight. And the mom called her over, whispered something in her ear in Spanish, and I heard, she's about to slap you. I heard it. She's about to she's about to slap you. 7 years old. 7 years, tender age of 7. And the girl came over and slapped my face. I don't speak Spanish. I ain't speak Spanish then. I don't speak it now. I don't speak it, nor did I understand it. I understand a little bit, some words, little words. And she came over and slapped my face. God spoke to me and told me, he'd warned me. The Holy Spirit spoke to me at 7 years old. But because I didn't know, I wasn't operating in my gifts because I didn't know what they were. Didn't know what they were. But the point of me telling you that is get to know God's voice. He'll tell you what he wants you to do in this life if you're stuck. Some of us stuck 50 years old still don't know what we want to be in life. I know it sounds a little bit weird. Some of us still don't know what our calling are. I told you this before. I went so all my day, all my years, not knowing what my gifts were, not knowing what I was called to do. And then one day, God said, I gave you the gift of love. I got a little bit annoyed with God. And this might be a little redundant, but I noticed I got a couple new followers, so I'm going to give it to them. You know, because sometimes we don't always go back to older videos. When I was younger, I grew up not knowing what my gifts were, not knowing what my talents were. My cousins, they're multi-talented. They have a lot of gifts. And I just didn't know. I felt out of place. God, no, I felt lonely in a sense. I had always stand on the sideline, looking at people play double dutch and cheerleading. And I wasn't gifted in those areas. I didn't have that type of talent. And then as I got older, and I was like, enough is enough. Like, this is enough. Going to churches, people could sing and people can do this, that, and the other. God, well, come on now. What's up? What's up? Tell me, what are my gifts? And God said to me, I gave you the gift of love. And I said, what? The gift of love? I was so annoyed with God. I told y'all this. Those who's been following me for a while. The gift of love, I'm giving it. God is allowing me to give it to you again for somebody that needs to hear it. I said, well, God, the gift of love, I don't want that. I really want to take it and throw it away. Like, you ain't giving me no gift of love. I know. You can't. You're playing with me, God, right? I talk to God like that sometimes. You're playing with me because I know for a fact you ain't trying to tell me you gave me the gift of love. What kind of gift is the gift of love? And God said, not everybody knows how to love. And not everybody knows how to receive love. And I still wasn't happy. And I was like, I still don't want that gift. I don't want that. That's not the gift I'm talking about. But as I began to grow in him and grow in my gifts, I realized that love is the greatest gift of all. If you don't have love, then honey, you're going to fail at everything. Because love is the beginning and the end. Love is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And that's what I am. I'm love. I walk in love every day. And don't get me wrong, I'm human, so I get upset about things. Even Jesus. He's love, right? God is love. Even Jesus, when he got upset with the people in the church and synagogue, and he was doing things in his house and selling things and things of that nature, and cheating and stuff was going on, he came in and he flipped the tables over. He exhibited anger. So I'm human. So there's times when I get angry. I don't want people to think I'm coming up here and pushing false positivity and making it seem like things don't happen in your life. There's things that's going to happen that's going to make you upset. But you can't live and reside in that energy. Because when you live and reside in that negative energy, you begin to put that off on other people. I always want to be the positive light. I'm always going to be a positive light. This is why I don't hold on to anger. This is why I don't hold on to resentment. This is why I can forgive so easily. This is why I push forgiveness, y'all. I push forgiveness. Just because you forgive a person doesn't mean you have to break bread again. I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice, but sometimes people, their cycle is over in your life. The assignment is over. But I'm going to always push love. I'm going to always push forgiveness. I'm always going to push peace because that's who I am. That's my calling. I'm 25 minutes in. I should be ashamed of myself. But that is it for now, you all. Just know that with faith, you can move mountains. Have faith. Know that on the other side of your pain, there's joy. On the other side of that war, there's peace. On the other side of your storm, there's sunshine. There's a rainbow waiting for you. If you don't give up, if you continue to hold on to your faith and know that God is here to help you, not to hurt you. The truth will always set you free. I know sometimes the truth hurts, but it'll set you free and it will help you to begin to live again. Because why? Because lies keep you bound. Lies keep you bound. And God don't want us to be bound. He said we could be free. And that's how I'm living, so freely, so loving and freely. And I love that God has made me so free, you all. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, or whatever day you are watching this. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your week to come. Welcome to a new week, because essentially Sunday starts the new week. Have a great day, you all.